Vamos a comenzar la...
Hello, we're about to start the next session. I'd like to say thank you to the association for inviting me to participate once again, one more year, in these conferences. And we're going to pass the floor. We're going to go straight to the presentations and speeches, which will be given by the four people here with me on the table. As we're a bit behind, we're going to start. Firstly, I'd like... José Manuel Bibo is going to intervene. He's the head of projects in gvSIG. He's also been director of mobile. Before he worked in Iber or Seno Club, he's got a wide experience in SIG, using in SIG Educa, gvSIG Educa. And he's going to speak to us about the new things in gvNIX. Thank you. Good morning to everybody. I'm José Manuel. Everybody calls me Chimo. This presentation is oriented at explaining what is gvNIX, especially focused on problem areas which come up from treating geographic information together with management apps. I'm also going to explain the new things which have come up, because gvNIX was presented last year with geo support, but there have been improvements which I'll try to explain to you. The problems that we've had. We always manage things, information, using specialized apps, and the information and the data from our business model in others. So therefore, we had two types of users, one more expert in geographic information, and the other users were the ones who looked after handling and managing the alphanumeric information. In this case, we can see in this example that we have gvSIG on the one hand to manage everything related to geometries, and on the other hand, we have an app, a web app, to manage the alphanumeric information. What benefits and what can gvNIX offer us? gvNIX is a tool which will allow us to develop web applications in a very fast way. We present the information, geographic information, it's capable. The geo complement is able to represent geographic information together with the alphanumeric information in the same web app, which means that we can exploit everything together in one set. This is the same example as before, but it's combined with the web app. We have the alphanumeric data masked with the geographic information, together with the geographic information. What's the objective? Well, try to interact with the alphanumeric data and with the business model, with all the tools which we need for our daily work, invoicing, management, anything we need whatsoever, together with the information which can be represented on a map so that we can see everything. So what is gvNIX? gvNIX, as I say, is a tool for rapid web application development. What characteristics does it have? It's a multi-platform. We can open up gvNIX and use it in Linux, in Windows, in Mac. And also we can generate the code required to manage the things which normally developers have got to do because they have to, but they don't really provide, but which don't provide anything useful. For example, tools for recovering data, for example. All apps have this, but they don't intervene in the normal business processes. So gvNIX is based on very used technology, very documented framework Spring, for example, and all its modules. It's based on a series of good practices, which are already well used. They're based on projects which have been methodologies which are defined and predefined methodologies, which can generate standard web apps which can be used in any Java server. Therefore, this is a way of looking at gvNIX. It's an interpreter of commands which are open up over the directory of the application. So here we're looking at Spring to Suite, which has got a complement which enables us to open it up. Basically, the application opens and we can introduce commands which help us to create, to set up, and to add characteristics to the project, but also we can observe and monitor the changes which have been made in the project. So you could react and make adjustments and modifications which are required to the already to the artifacts which we have created. Where the functionalities, basic functionality, we have to create a data model. We can create data model that we're going to use in different entities, standard ones, GPA, and also we can generate artifacts which can be used to take a look at all these data, and we can do searches, etc. And we can also automatically generate a web layer based on the data of this model, which we've introduced, the model which we've introduced, with the basic functionalities to be able to create and modify this data. So very quickly we can have an app which is working, and we can start to test and try it and work with it. We have a base which we can use, and we can start to implement and improve our, apply it to our business. We also have a monitoring function, which is simple, where you just execute a command and it generates all the necessary artifacts, items for making the application work and handling it. We also have a support for auditing and changes in historical changes in the registers, in the records, record changes. Everything which is necessary for registering the changes, and also we can navigate within the changes of certain entities or of all the different entities. We can also generate simple templates, report templates, which can be taken a look into the web layer, so that with a simple command we can generate a report about a table, or a table for any particular entity. This is a screen which is basic of gvNIX, where we can see a list of an entity. In this time we're talking about streets. So gvNIX, apart from a table, what it integrates is also data table component, which allows filtering for quick search, little functionality for exportation, support for online creation of the table. And here is a little video which I'm going to leave just a little bit so you can see how this actually works. In the video you are going to see how we start to create a project from zero, from using gvNIX. We're going to start with the complement STS, which will allow us to create the gvNIX project, and this will then execute gvNIX and will start to create the project. As you can see, basically a command is executed and the project starts to create, and all the different artifacts, the items are then created. We go to the console and we take a look at the commands to be able to set up the persistence, the database, library. We can create entities. This is going to create Java classes and everything surrounded it, like generating Java class accessories and everything related to the persistence, methods for storage and recovery of data. In this case, we're creating the two entities. You can see we've got the Java classes which are coming up. Also, we can see in the console other files which are going to be added to the different functionality, which are going to add the different functionalities which we have been talking about. In the Java class, you can see we simply add some notes, which are going to about all the code which is required for making the persistence. The Java class will be left there with simply with the properties. Now we're going to add a relationship between the two entities. We're going to link them, and we've created, therefore, the web layer. To create the web layer, we've included all the Happer scripts, etc., which we may need. And we also create the root, the data management in an automatic way. And directly now we're going to execute. As you can see, in a few minutes we've got an application up and working, up and running. This is, you can see it, a very simple app which allows us to manage the entities or the tables which we have created. We can record the data of an entity from the other. Now we have the visual controls, the basic display controls to be able to see everything. And we can make a list of the data. It's a simple table which displays the data. So now one of the characteristics of gvNIX is what functionalities can we increase? We could increase the jQuery library, and also we could add the displaying using with these simple commands, as you can see, using the bootstrap. So then we create the tables in the controllers which are going to manage the tables. Chima, you've got 5 minutes left. Okay. Right. So all of this in the end means that we're going to refresh here, and after restarting, the server will start to itself, and the application means we now have everything prepared. What happens with the functionalities in GeoPortals, which gvNIX can provide? gvNIX for cartographic data. New things compared to the final version. Apart from being able to manage them, we've added a certain complement, which is a reference map, filters for the based on dialogues, the coordinates of the mouse, the numeric and graphic scale, the different layers in a tree system. We can also print the map. It's basically a screen capture, screenshot. We can see the different legend and the metadata. The developer can develop with JavaScript, a possibility of personalizing what we're looking at here. And also we have predefined layers. We can predefine certain layers so that the user can then add the ones that he or she think are useful. Different other layers which can be directly added with URL, with WMS, with tiles, with SHP, etc. We can also manage the opacity. It's got multiple support for multiple CRS support. We also have the possibility of geolocalization and control of different layers. It's a small app, which is very simple to use. And I'm going to show you now something quickly, because if not, I'm going to run out of time. Right, this is the actual application live. As I've not got much time left, I'm not going to create entities, but you can see here what is the talk. We are viewing the different layers of streets, buildings, okay. And all of this is related to, don't know why that came up, is related to, Ricardo, what have you been up to? So, the advantage we have here is that we can interact with the different elements we have registered in our business model. As we have the entity, building here, we can access it. The maintenance, we can modify its attributes, and we have the filter. This is, here we have the zoom. So what can we see? Here we can see the filter. If I manage to get this right one day. Okay, there we go. Right, we can filter the streets, for example. Here's the name of the street, and automatically it's going to filter the results which we see in the portal. We can select to be able to view this, and this is going to help us to interact with our business model data. As you can see, it's got other functionalities to adding the predefined layers. We can adjust the transparency and the slide, and we can also, another function, an interesting functionalities, is to add the server, or in this case I've got a shape. If it opens, tune it. gvNIX, which is a street here in Valencia, which we can load this on the map, so we can view it in real time. As I said, the advantage of this is that we have our management app with all our rules, with all our business model, and all the procedures, and also it's integrated with cartographic information, with maps, which I think is extremely important, as the information is not separated, and we have different, nor do we have different users who are managing the information. Nothing else. I'd like to say that you can see this in different, you can view it in different devices. It uses spatial databases, it uses libraries, gvSIG, to do remote work, and its usefulness, it's a very diverse use. I'd like to invite you all to the workshop this afternoon. If anybody has any problem with the requirements, my colleague Raul will be here a few minutes before so that we can help you. And nothing else. I'd just like to say that's it. Thank you.